Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Righto, so today I'm trying to finish some work that's been cluttering my desk. We're back to doing the maintenance to the Jouef car transporter wagon. In the previous episode I had fixed the broken rails here using glue and glaze, PVA glue, and that's okay, that's repaired there, no problem. Remember, I put a wee clothes peg to clamp it in position, it worked. Then there was another crack there and another little crack there, everything's okay, nice and clean. Now I'm changing, remember I told you I was going to change the wheels and replace these plastic wheels, which are actually very good wheels. I mean, these are good wheels, very smooth running, and Jouef's plastic wheels don't lose their gauge, unlike the metal ones that are specialised in losing their gauge. So I just thought, seeing all the other car transporters have got metal wheels, let's keep this one here on metal wheels as well and reduce dirt, soiling the track, because plastic wheels pick up dirt and spread it all over the place. So even if I apply a policy of if the wheels are okay, if the wheels are good, why should I change them? But in this case here, they were rather dirty, so I decided to may as well just keep everything nice and smooth running. I've got lots of Jouef wheels. Here we are, a whole bag of them here. So we can change some wheels when we need to. Of course, these Jouef wheels, as you can see, are all slack. They're all out of gauge. So what have I done? Excuse the position of the phone. It's not really optimal, but it's charging. So you've got a slightly different camera angle today. Right, so it's daytime, by the way. It wouldn't look like it. There's electric light all over the place. Overcast, grey, miserable northern Italian weather. So when people say sunny Italy, not the end of November, at least not up here. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm regauging the wheels. I don't have a back-to-back regauger. I don't have it, so I'll just use my vernier calipers, where I have measured the gauge of the back-to-back gauge of the plastic wheels, and I also used as a sample the back-to-back gauge of a Lima wheel set, because Limas never lose their gauge, they're always correct. So I've set the correct gauging on the calipers, and these are metal calipers, are made in China. This part here is not very precise because the zero is out of alignment compared to the measurement when we're on this position here, and so I'm actually short of 13 millimeters. So this is a problem. I bought this on Amazon because my plastic vernier calipers were getting warped, and so I bought a metal set, but not really very precise. I'll talk about this in another video or at the end of this one, but anyway, this is not great. This is correct, this is not correct. So I actually made all the measurements using a steel ruler, which I know to be correct. And so when I use this part here to measure an internal measurement like that, I always know I'm a millimeter short compared to reality, because it should be nearly 14 or something of the kind. I don't remember right now. We are short of 13 millimeters. So anyway, these are my calipers. This is my measurement. Don't take these measurements as correct for your own layout, but this is, for me, what's important is that I have a correct measurement based on a wheel with correct gauging, and this is what I use. So it's like we're working in a different time zone. Okay, I should have just gone and spend more. It wasn't even that cheap. I mean, it was not the cheapest of them. It wasn't very expensive, but it wasn't the cheapest of the cheap. So it's the luck of the draw, isn't it, when you get stuff here made in China. And the thing is, in many sectors things are improving, but probably... Alright. I'm just giving the axles a wee clean to remove some rust. These two here that I'm handling right now, I've already gauged them. They've been gauged, and I'm just removing some rust from the axles, which doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not really a fundamental thing to do, but seeing we're working on the things, why leave the axles rusty? I'm just cleaning them with some lighter fluid. Okay. Oh, very clever. I've got lighter fluid all over the table. Oh, that degreased the table, didn't it? And now there a cup holder as well. Now the room smells of paraffin. Okie doke, leave that there. Oh, we didn't need to lose that much. Still some in here. Okay, problem solved. Okay, so that's clean. This happens when you clean things that don't really need to be cleaned. Then you pour lighter fluid all over the workspace. Okay, just let me get this thing here cleaned. Right, that'll do. Done. Let's put the lid back on this before we get lighter fluid all over the shop again. That pencil shouldn't even be there. Okay, right, so I'll show you the ones that I've already regauged. They're these two here. Or are they? Hold on now, I don't know what's what. Lighter fluid incident. Okay, that's correct, you can see. That's already been regauged, correct gauging. This one, the same. Correct, these two here are ready. We'll get these ones here. Moving the camera over because I see that I'm just getting a view of the back of my hands and it's not really a very interesting thing. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this out. I'm trying to also get them as centered as possible. Meaning to have the wheels well, the axle sticking out at the sides at the same measurement per side. That's acceptable. Then we'll just tighten that a bit. There, back to back, that's okay. It's alright. And the last one, which was the slackest of them all. That's good, and that's good. I'd say that's okay. Let's see if they're all the same distance. Let's say that we're okay-ish. This one here is really very slack. Okay, yeah, they're correct. Right, having re-gauged this stuff, I can put the calipers away. What do I use? I've already shown you these things in other videos, but we have to stop them from losing their gauging again. So I use some, this is a little jar of ball bearing retaining compound, loctite. The actual bottle is up here, I'll show you it. This stuff here, I've already spoken about in other videos, but maybe you're new to the channel and you've not seen me doing these things yet. And of course this is in a jar because on one occasion, oops, I spilled some and made a mess. How very typical. And so having made a mess, I managed to transfer it into this little jar. That way I don't need to open the main bottle every time. And now I'm simply going to apply some of this stuff to the axles. Just a drop, we don't need a lot. And then that will go in by capillary effect and lock the axles and the wheels together. Usually once you've done this job, you don't have to do it again. And now I'm just going to wet them all, because these ones here are slack even on the insulated side. Generally they don't come loose at the insulated side, but this time here we're really in a bad way. So I don't know why. This is a defect of Jouef metal wheels. And it can happen in particular after you lubricate axle boxes, that oil goes in by capillary effect and then the wheels come slack. But these ones here, I bought these second hand and I got them slack. So it's the luck of the draw as usual. Probably the main thing is that the parts there's too much play between axle and wheel in these Jouef wheels, but they are excellent wheels, very smooth running, they're very good wheels. Jouef wheels are good. Lima wheels are better. That's one thing about Lima. I like Lima. I began with Lima. Maybe Lima's models are generally, I'm talking about vintage Lima, simpler, but no nonsense. And from a mechanical point of view, they just cracked the egg with their with the Lima pancake motor. It's really absolutely perfect. Very simple to open, simple to maintain, very good pickup even if it's on, talking about bogie, generally it's on opposite wheel sets, but the Jouef is more complicated. On the other side, Jouef, with its more complicated arrangements and more sometimes quirky mechanisms, even if, for example, in the 030TA Boer, it's really very simple. They managed to extend their production range to very small tank engines, all sorts of things that Lima never did, simply because you couldn't fit a Lima pancake motor into the bodywork. For example, let's think of Jouef. Now, you look at my channel, you'll find the 040TA shunting engine, tank engine, both open cab and closed cab version, or the 030TA Boer, my little favourite Ginty style French locomotive, right? If we compare them to the Lima Dock Shunter 040, but Lima also made the German 06 tank engine, a very high profile. So they're okay, they're realistic models, but Lima could make high profile loading gauge steam locomotives because they only fitted one type of motor, the pancake motor. And that's why also in some models, in particular the British ones, the 060s, NHO, and Lima's 00 tender locomotives were tender drive, because that's what you can do with that. They did develop locomotive drive, the SNCF 141R and the Deutsche Bahn BR39 are engine driven, but both have got a high loading gauge, so the tall locomotives. Now, Jouef, with its smaller motors, its open frame motors, it really was able to provide some very interesting tank engines and loco driven engines. I'm thinking of the 140C, very nice locomotive. It also, I'll never understand Jouef, I'll never understand why on some of their bigger tender engines, which are very, very nice engines, even their 141R, their 231C Chapelon, the newer ones, they went for for tender drive with small open frame motors when they could have easily just put the motor in the engine like they did with the 140C, which is even a smaller engine. It makes no sense. And there they have very inefficient, in my opinion, so only the tender picks up, and only one bogie picks up. The other bogie has got 4 traction tires on, and pity, because they're really very, very nice models. But they're also models that keep their price. So apart from, I don't like tender driven steam engines. I like my drive to be where it should be in reality. And the Jouef tender drivers are expensive, so I don't think I'll be getting one unless they're unless it's coming very cheap, and then that would make it interesting, because no doubt it would have to do a lot of maintenance work. Okay, right, so I've put as I was chatting away, I've applied my ball bearing locking compound. I'm going to clean this small piece of this paper clip and stick it away in here. And now what I'm going to do to really make sure these wheels, the capillary effect, is going to work, I'm simply going to twist them a little bit to make sure that the compound gets into the axles. Just a little twist, and of course now we'll probably lose its gauge. Let's see, has it lost its gauge? I have to get a back-to-back gauging tool. Simplify my life. But this is what you can do if you don't have such an item. Okay, that's one. Just a little twist like that to make sure that the capillary effect works. The capillary effect will go in. We just need to let them relax, just let the compound set, and that'll be us. Because I have to make the ballast for the 90 by 100 centimeter layout, and to do that I have to clear some rubbish off the desk, because I have to actually work with charcoal and things and paper, and I can't have rubbish lying around. This one's already setting by the feel. Okay, this is great stuff, this loctite. Oh, it's already getting better. Yeah, just twisted that a little bit just to make sure that everything is well and truly set. Just press it in position like that. Right. Okay, so these are set. I'm just going to leave them on the car transporter like that. This way they've got time to set, and we'll be able to reassemble. You're not seeing what I'm doing, excuse me, pardon me, there we go. I just pop them on here, that way they've got time to set. The next thing will be reassembling the bogies, and this will be ready to go on the layout. Okay, not really very exciting video, it's just a maintenance video, but we have to make these ones as well, just to let you know what's going on. And next on the agenda, we have to do the same job on these wheels here. This is another Jouef car transporter. I'll just do this off camera because it's just the same old hat. Look at that. Look, that's lost its gauging. This one's okay. This one, maybe we'll have to check them with the calipers. Anyway, and then another thing I have to do, but we'll do this here on camera. We'll do it together because this is actually going to be quite entertaining. Oops, maybe that was great. Things falling on the floor. We have to change the drive rubber bands on the JJ locomotive. That's been lying around for months because the elastics had, the rubber bands had decayed. Okay, so cheerio and see you next time.